Hello, Professor Eric Martin here, and now it is time for us to talk about the formal essays for the Gandhian Ethics and Values course. And right underneath where you found this video, there is a link that says Formal Essay Details. If you can click on that link, you'll be able to follow along with what I'm using to talk about this stuff. So let's start off with the due date. These essays are due on Thursday, May 4th by 11:59 p.m. That's on a Thursday. That is the Thursday of the last week of school. We're not doing anything else the next week during finals week. You don't have a multiple guess final examination. This paper is the last thing you'll turn in for this class. When you turn in this paper, you are done with the course. So congratulations, right? Okay. The essay itself is going to be 8 pages. It's about 2,000 words. Now I want that 8 pages. That's the target, right? That's the target. You got 8 pages to do whatever it is you're going to do. Don't give me 20 pages. If you think you got 20 pages worth of stuff to say, then sit down, revise it, clean it up, make it nice and tight, polish it up. That's the difference between, just sort of somebody who wants a bunch of pages blasted out the night before and somebody who wants your essay to be polished and coherent and cleanly organized from one piece to the next, and let's just cut the fluff out. All right, 8 pages. Now, this essay is worth 25% of your overall grade, so treat it accordingly. Right. This is the your capstone course for your Gen Ed requirements. You should be able to put together all the things you need to put together for this course. You should be able to write, paragraphs and, topic sentences and all that kind of stuff. You should be able to add details. You should be able to utilize data, all that kind of good stuff. So 25% of your grade. Now, before I go into the sources and citations and the questions, let me really just kind of tell you what the whole spirit of this essay is. If I thought I could just give you a question that said, what did you learn in this class? And that you would really sit down and spend some time contemplating what it is that you did learn and using our class materials to go through that stuff, that's really what I would do. That's really what we're doing. We're doing what did you learn? But we're going to put a small spin on it. This is not a research paper, although there's a few outside sources that are required. So let me just kind of go through the sources that you're required to use. I want you to use all the materials that we've dealt with in class, right? So that miniature guide to understanding the foundation of ethical reasoning, I want to see that in there. I want to see Gandhi's autobiography in there. I want to see the Bhagavad Gita in there. I want to see Hind Swaraj in there and whatever other assigned readings we do. In terms of the videos, feel free to use them, but don't give me the impression you didn't do any readings, right? But if there's videos that were particularly useful, go ahead and use those. We're using all our class materials, right? It's a what did you learn? And then in terms of outside sources for you to use, they just kind of came up with this. I don't know that it's the ideal thing, but it's what we're going to use. And if you've got questions about it, just email me. I'm easy to work with on some of this. I want you to use a biography or an article on Gandhi in some way, shape, or form. And as it says in the details, if it's a book, you don't have to use the whole thing, just the stuff that applies to your topic. But I want to see at least one outside source on Gandhi. I want to see at least one outside source, either a book or an article on your topic, right? So if you chose, let's say, to do something on vegetarianism, you'd have one outside source on Gandhi, you'd be looking into his ideas about diet, and then you'd have some other kind of source, really looking at issues about diet. That's the minimum. All right, basically 2 outside sources. I think we can all do this as college students. Now keep in mind the minimum, gets you the minimum grade, right? On the front of the syllabus or the front of the web page, there's a clear outline there that says that if you do what I ask you to do and you do a reasonable job of it, that's a C, right? So 2 outside sources. You want to add more outside sources to that? That'd be fantastic. It'd be great. You can use as many as you want within the page limits. Now, the other thing, there's a link. I didn't know where else to put it, so I put it here. There's a link to the Gandhi Heritage portal underneath the required sources part of the essay details. That is a fabulous resource of tons of Gandhi's writings and tons of writings about Gandhi by people that knew him. It is not required that you use any of that material, but it seems like that'd be a really good place to look, to find additional stuff. Okay, so those are the sources. Citations. I want you to use footnotes. Super easy. And I wish I knew a little bit better about how to shoot some of these videos, and I'd just fire Microsoft Word up for you. If you use Microsoft Word, putting footnotes in is really easy. There's a bar at the top that is citation. On some versions it's insert. You go up to that, it says insert footnote. You insert the footnote, it puts a little tiny number at the end of the sentence. It drops another little tiny number at the bottom of your page. And then on the essay details, I show you what should be at the bottom of the page. And what I'll try to do is find you a short YouTube video where someone shows you how to do that on Microsoft Word. It is super easy. But I like footnotes. It keeps all your sources. Most of y'all have probably learned MLA style, right? That's usually what they teach in History 102. Not History 102, English 102. And that's where you use those in-text citations. All footnotes all this Turabian style is taking those in-text citations and putting them at the very bottom of the page so that it doesn't mess up the page. Okay. That's easy enough. So here's the questions, which is probably what people have been wondering about. I really struggled to try to come up with the big list of questions. And then, like I said, I just kind of left it at, what did you learn? So I've got one kind of thought out question, one really semi-vague question, and then a third if you don't like either one of those. So let's go through the first question. Basically, what this question is asking you to do is to describe the purpose of your major or your career path. I realize that many of y'all are doing a general studies degree because that's the degree that you're able to get online. I get that. So that's kind of what I was thinking about in terms of your career path. Describe the purpose of your major or your career path and introduce its connection to Gandhian ethical philosophy. What does Gandhian ethics have to do with your career path? What does Gandhian ethics have to do with your major? In this paragraph with a 1-sentence thesis statement, so make sure you got a thesis in there, and then explain and analyze 2 to 4 relevant issues from Gandhian ethical philosophy for your major or your career path. What are these issues? What issues have we looked at in the class? Or what issues have been brought up? Maybe we didn't look at them, but maybe you thought about them as we went through, that are connected to your major. Why are they important to your major or your career path? How does having an understanding of these issues make you a better, whatever major or whatever career person? and then conclude the essay with a one-page statement on understanding the connection between your major and Gandhian ethics. Now, this is the question. I use a version of this question for my political philosophy class, and every student has to do this question. It's actually pretty cool. Students come up with some pretty good ideas about what the content of the course has to do with their major. So anyway, I've used this question a number of times, and it's a pretty nice one. So I wanted to try it out in this class and see how it worked, because I know that there's probably a couple of y'all that are going to take this for a political philosophy substitution. Those of y'all up in Coeur d'Alene. The other question that's on here, again, just pick one question. So if you like that question, reflecting on your major and on your career path and what Gandhian ethics have to do with it, just pick it and move along. If you don't know, then this question number 2. It's real simple. This is sort of more of a straight up research question. Pick one aspect of Gandhian ethics to research further. What kind of ethical issues have come up in the course of our class here that you think is interesting? And just go off and research it a little further. What role did this aspect of ethics play in Gandhi's life? And in what ways is this still an ethical issue for the 21st century? Now, I've actually delayed putting this video up because I wanted to come up with a list of all the different ethical issues that you might be able to choose from. And it was just sort of a stalling tactic, really. And so I think maybe we'll start a discussion board posting thread on the formal essay so folks can kind of toss some ideas out there and see what other people are doing. But we've come through a lot of Gandhian issues so far, whether it is his ethics about diet, or his thinking about religion, or these issues about conflict resolution and how that should be done. It's hard for me not to think about Gandhian stuff when I look at the news right now, looking at the various political demonstrations going on around the country and what Gandhi's connection is to that style of political activism. Several of y'all brought up issues about, Gandhi, his goals for Indian independence, right, versus his parenting. So the ethics of family, I suppose, is one way to think about it. But we could just kind of keep on playing this game, or having this conversation, and I think we should, in the discussion boards, to get some of the different varieties and some of the different ideas of Gandhi's intersection with ethics. So the idea with this would be for you to pick something. Maybe you're really interested in issues of diet. So you want to go into looking at issues of vegetarianism. You want to look at the moral arguments for being a vegetarian. You want to look at the health arguments for it, against it, however you want to do that, right? Okay. And then more of these issues are going to be brought up. Now, the thing is, Hind Swaraj is one of Gandhi's most famous works. We are not going to be reading that until after spring break, but that's probably the work where he brings up the most ethical issues in one shot. So reading his autobiography, we get a sense of his development, we get a sense of where he comes from, we get a sense of how these things come about. But it's really the story about him. Hind Swaraj is really the story about how we should conduct ourselves in a way. So this is just kind of giving you the heads up. There'll be more of this. And then, question number 3. I'm open to just about anything. If there is some other kind of an essay topic that is centered on Gandhian ethical philosophy that you would like to do, just run it by me. I'm not crazy about surprises in terms of like you turning it in on May 4th and saying I did this completely different thing. Um, but run it by me so that we can make sure it meets the parameters of the course. And basically, the parameters of the course are going to be, can you use our course materials for it? And did you go off and do a little bit of outside research? Now, let me emphasize this. I expect y'all to do some outside research. But this is also a academic exercise in which we are connecting the dots with things we've already read. So don't feel compelled to go out there and gather, 15 or 20 outside sources for this particular assignment. We're only talking about 8 pages. You're only going to have so much time to lay out high quality in 8 pages. Okay, and then the rest of the essay details, the assignment. It's just a checklist of what I'm going to look for as I do the grading. So that's the short version of what we're supposed to be doing. If you've got questions about this, please send me an email. In just a second, I'll create a discussion board. You can throw up your idea for a topic. But let's make sure that we all understand what we're supposed to do. I don't want people to be sort of like, yeah, I don't know, it's worth a lot of my grade, but I don't really quite get what I'm supposed to be doing. We're just picking a topic that's of interest to you, connected with Gandhian ethics, to explore further. And whether that is exploring further what he had to say about it, whether that's exploring further what others have had to say about it, whether that's exploring further about whether it's still a legitimate topic for the 21st century, this is for y'all to go. Now, I also want to reassure y'all a little bit, and I need to come back here to the course content so I can make sure. We've got a few weeks that are going to be coming up in which I don't have a whole lot designated in our course content folders for us to be doing. And the idea is that y'all will be doing this. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of time to work with this. Unfortunately, a lot of it comes towards the end of the term. So like maybe the 2 weeks before this is due, you'll have time to do it. Frequently at the end of the term, you got other things to do too. But I'm just trying to give you an idea that you're gonna have some time to work on this too. Okay, that's all I've got to say about this. Y'all send me emails, you call me on the phone, you send something up in the discussion boards if you got questions about it, and we'll move on from there. Talk to you soon.